Welcome to, well, we can't say it's a special edition of the word, but it is an edition of the word.
They're all special editions,
That's
James.
true. That's true because the show broadcasts, semi-regularly.
And we poured the
So
same amount of substandard effort into every single one of them. So
and I think that's what makes each show special. So yeah, you're exactly right. A special edition, which is every edition, a post KD and OKC World is what I've titled the episode. A lot of reactions coming out of the yeah, I mean that's where we are. A lot of reactions coming out of the sports world, out of the social media world, and we're here to, in a very non-concise way, wrap that up. It is the word hashtag sports news stuff. I'm James Mondia, joined by Richard Bruce. Oh, what is the name of the guy who is the grandfather in? Is it Sam Neill? Who's
Sam
the
Neill.
who's
Sam
the
Neill. Sam Neill is
the
Dr.
cool?
Grant in Jurassic Park.
No, no, that's not who I want. Who's the Coors Light voice on the commercials?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He does like the whole like made in the Rockies, and he's like this. He was in the Big Lebowski, and
Oh,
he's
Sam Elliott.
there. We go.
Coors.
Did I say what did I say? Bush Light?
Coors Light. He's like the old Coors. Like the
Oh, he was actually a spokesperson for them.
or he I think he does the VO. But it was
Right.
Coors, not Coors Light. Yeah, like the old
Oh, he only does Coors.
I think so, yeah.
That just
Original
brought
Coors.
that just brought me back to we've talked about this many times in the show, but you know, uh, doing a broadcast in the STV studio with you, and then going back to your place on Coolidge Street. Whew, I was not ready for that. Okay, but no, look, we're gonna get to that. We'll get back to that. This is a big show. Kevin Durant is a warrior. We also haven't been on the air since your boy, oh, Derrick Rose.
Why is he my boy?
I don't. Whose boy is he? He's
Knicks fans, boys. Now they're all very excited.
but
It was a very Knicks move.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're the Knicks, wouldn't you be
But
extremely?
at the same time, strangely, I can't hate on it. Like they didn't give up anything to get the guy.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Doesn't that make you a little bit concerned? It's like when you
Of course.
when you work a deal with like your old like buddy, like in college when someone was like selling something, they were just trying to get rid of it, and you'd hit them up like, what's how much for the thing? I'm kind of looking for the couch, and they give you this absurd price, like just like to where you feel like guilty almost.
Yeah. Well, I've been fond of saying that if anyone accepts the first offer, somebody's getting screwed.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was quite to that level because there were some salary concerns because they have to pay him a lot of money, so that flips it a little bit. But they didn't really give up much to get him, so it's a 1-year experiment. Maybe it'll work out.
It is a very Knicks move, isn't it? I mean,
The ultimate Knicks move would have been signing D Wade and Dwight Howard to go with Derrick Rose.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it though. Talk about bold statements, and I don't like this whole idea. I think I've gotten in the habit of this occasionally with soccer, definitely, and I don't want to do it in other sports. So I don't. I guess I would say I'm not predicting this or wanting this. I'm a little bit wary of this. We know about the health issues. I hate calling it health issues, injury issues. I foresee preseason out.
See, I don't know. He's played a decent amount of games the last couple of years. He just hasn't been as good. That's been the problem.
So you think that it's less about health now and just more
Well,
about
I mean, the health obviously plays a role in that. the skills have deteriorated a bit, much like some other injury-prone guys we've seen over the years, Penny, Kevin Johnson, guys like that just could never really stay healthy long term. But he can always bounce back. He's still 27, so
Okay.
it's not over.
Okay. Well, I'm being dramatic. It just seems to me like such a.
Sorry for my lukewarm take. We'll try to heat those takes up as the show goes along, but they're a little lukewarm at the moment.
I don't know. No. Hold on. No. That's not a lukewarm take. That is a well-reasoned response to me being over the top. I'm just because
this is why I'll never make it in sports media.
Yeah, that's why we started this program. You couldn't have set it up better. Because in the past couple of days, I've been, thinking about what I want to do with the program. You and I have talked offline about this. And the one thing that I really return to often is it's kind of interesting. One of my favorite podcasts that's only sports related is Men in Blazers. It's a soccer podcast. I'd recommend it to you, but see, the thing is, like, they have so many.
I've listened to them before.
Okay, so you know the guys,
Yeah.
you know their shtick. It's actually not, I wouldn't say too dissimilar from what we try to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
They have a really good understanding, and obviously they're doing it live together, and their material they're covering is so concise that the format is just brilliant.
So that's where we differ. The conciseness.
The conciseness, yeah.
Concisity?
We were talking before we got on air tonight, like, oh, okay, let's keep it tight tonight. We don't want to stay on too late, which is basically what we've said before almost every time we've gotten on air.
Yeah.
And
we're guaranteed to go to like 2 a.m. tonight.
I'm telling you, and you don't believe me, we've done 3 hours before when we were in college.
Without even trying.
Yeah, that's like 3 hours with like people trying to get on air after us. Like that's with the restriction. Like now it's like we don't even have who we beholden to.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think that's a lukewarm take. And going back to the sports media angle. I mean, what's good about the plethora of options now is everything can be niched down. So I don't look at it as trying to fit in, the small fish in a big pond. It's like whatever the size of the pond is, every time I start a new broadcast, I see the number of subscribers we have. And I look at it like, yeah, but that's all people that were really actively choosing to be a part of this, not like some mass appeal, like just subscribe. When I was a DJ, that was a really big thing I noticed in the community. It's like everybody wanted to have a lot of followers, a lot of Twitter followers, a lot of downloads to their mixtape or whatever. And that gave you validity. But in the sense that you could talk about it, but not in terms of what you could actually do. So that being said, KD is
all that matters is how many watchers we have. Followers doesn't matter.
Yeah. And that being, and at the time being, this is actually a milestone. We've gone. There's no timer on the show. Oh, I have no idea how long we've been going. But anyway, let me close my text messages here. Save some CPU on the. Shout out to the Messages app on an OS X machine. I mean, seriously.
It's nice.
Come on. I mean, next thing you're going to tell me I can text on my computer. Now you're going to tell me I can get email on my phone. Get out of here.
Hashtag well actually. Never want to be the well actually guy.
Yeah. So let's jump into this. Is this the greatest sports transaction since LeBron came back? That's kind of a.
No, I don't want to. I want to hashtag give it a minute.
Oh, here we go. Yes.
There's just I don't want to rush. We need to see it. I mean, obviously they're going to be great together. I don't think that's in dispute. I mean, maybe to what level and we'll have to listen to or they're the greatest team ever stuff again and all that. But my biggest takeaway was kind of, who cares? Not in that I'm disinterested that he went there, but it seemed like there were a lot of people bent out of shape that don't really have a dog in the fight about what he did. And the whole sentiment is kind of strange to me. And I don't know when we kind of got to this point. Like, in any other industry, let's say you're a chef, all right, and you're a really good chef, but you're trying to you haven't been able to win, like you haven't really been able to work at like the restaurant, like the best restaurant in town type of thing. And if you're like, hey, listen, there's this job opening, it's this great restaurant, it's a great location. There's great people that work there. They got a great staff, great ownership of the restaurant. I really think this could be a great spot for me. Or any of his friends or like other people that know him be like, "You're such a sellout. You should go start your own restaurant and do your own thing." No, and I don't understand. Like, I know it's not quite like it's a little apples to oranges. I get it, but I'm just trying to make the point that it's so unique to not just sports, but really basketball in general, that people have this romanticized version of what superstars are supposed to be and do. And, well, yeah, ideally you'd like to see the guy be the guy and take the team to the promised land and get people to buy in and do all that stuff. There have also been so many guys that have tried to do that and it didn't work out. And then you kill them for it not working out. Mm-hmm. So you can't have it both ways. You can't kill the Barkleys and the Karl Malones and the Patrick Ewings and those guys for never winning a title, and then also get on the people who go to a great situation. So I just have a hard time getting too upset about the whole thing. I just, unless you're an Oklahoma City fan or a Warriors fan, then just kind of let him do what he wants to do. What's the big deal?
It seems like there's this real desire. Romanticize isn't the word, but it seems like there's this real desire for ownership, right? Like everybody wants to be a part of it and to feel impacted by it and to have an opinion on it. So we get these like platitudes and like you said, like, why isn't he sticking around, working OKC? That's his team. And
on top of that, why is his decision to go there? Like, people try to make that a reflection of him as a person. I mean, even as a player, like the player thing, I get a little bit that, he did make the decision to try to go that route and thought that maybe, the situation he was in wasn't the best for him as a player. And if you want to glean something from that, okay. I mean, I understand it. But if all the shade that's being thrown at him, I haven't heard anybody say, no, to be fair, I don't think that they should. But it's funny that nobody's going after Steph or Clay or Draymond for, they didn't think they were good enough. They had to bring another guy in. Like, well, if it goes one way, it goes the other way too.
This is an interesting discussion that we're going to stay basketball, but I've seen it pop up as I've been watching the European Soccer Championships, which is there's this debate about style and over substance. So by definition, I think we can agree that the only thing that really needs to happen in a basketball game is that you score more points than the other team. And there are rules inside the game, intrinsic to the game, that make that difficult. There are things extrinsic to the game that make that difficult. So why wouldn't you put yourself in a position as an individual player, but also as an organization, to do that with everything that you can? And while the extrinsic things, like, staying loyal, which I hate that term in sports, like it's a job.
Yeah, they want him to stay loyal, but as soon as he leaves, and people are posting videos talking about how they hate Durant now, or
Yeah.
people burning LeBron's jersey when he left Cleveland. It's like they want you to be loyal until you do something they don't like.
Right. And so that's of course the hypocrisy is baked in. But I just think that what would you expect him to do? I mean, he obviously left a lot on the floor. Left it all on the floor, I should say, at OKC. And so, by definition, as someone who wants to score more points than the other team more often, so you can win more games and win a championship, it seems to me like it gets to a point where you have to try that. Maybe that maybe puts the LeBron Miami thing in perspective for me, because I was never a big fan of that, because it seemed to be about all the outside factors and hanging out with my friends.
I just didn't like the way he went about. I just didn't like the way he handled the situation.
Right.
That was my only beef with LeBron, was the way that it was done. I thought KD handled it well, and Sam Presti really handled it well. The GM that he had, there was no Comic Sans font letter sent out about Kevin Durant later that evening. He held a press conference and spoke highly of Kevin and their time. I mean, he was there for 9 years. Like, how many people criticizing the decision this guy made have worked for the same company for 9 years?
Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Not, especially people in our generation. I mean,
I have, but I've been almost 9 years.
Really? Has it been that long?
Yeah. Well, KD was 2007 draft, and he got drafted at the end of June, and like a week later, I started my job. I'm still at the same place. So
you were 2007 draft.
I was drafted.
Life is crazy. It's 2016, bro.
Yeah. Time flies, man.
We're almost out of college 10 years.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Nah. That's
I
it.
refuse to believe it.
Next week is a rewind episode.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to remind myself.
We're going to break into STV. We're going to broadcast from there.
I would say we'd break in there, but it's actually probably just wide open all night long. People can come in and do whatever they want. So we could just walk in and start broadcasting. Oh, yeah, you
Whoever
guys.
the new James Diaz is sleeping on the couch in there. Sleeping on his book bag.
Oh, my God. I spent so much time sleeping down there. I mean, really, imagine if I devoted that time to something useful.
It is useful.
No, I mean, not the sleeping time.
Oh,
the time in the studio to something useful.
And we cranked out the hits, brother.
We did. That's true. No, that's true. That's true. The word, this was useful out of that. The other stuff I did there, sleeping there and editing and whatever. Yeah. That being said, well, I like your take on KD. I mean, look, let's just win some basketball games.
Yeah, but the guy's 28 years old, 27, 28 years old. He's been in one city for 9 years. Maybe he just wants to change up his life a little bit. Hey, let's go live in San Francisco. That's a fun place to live. Let's go play fun basketball with guys who are really good at it. That'll be fun. It's okay. And I don't know. I mean, obviously it factors into the decision, because it does for everybody, because you don't want to go anywhere and be irrelevant. But I wonder how much of the consistent media storyline of nothing matters unless you win a title type of thing, how much that plays into some of these decisions that guys make. That, like, I know it's always been important, and it's always been sort of the paramount goal of everybody. But it seems like in the first take era that, anything that doesn't end in confetti falling on you as you hold a trophy was a worthless and meaningless exercise, which I refuse to believe. Like, the 73 wins that the Warriors had last year, it still matters. It's still important. It's still something to be proud of. Just because you don't win a title doesn't reverse all of that. So I don't know that, especially people that are around our age that seems to have been like the narrative shift in the last 15, 20 years, how much that factors into them going different places to team up and going somewhere to play together. And I don't know how much of it's that. And this is something I haven't really heard anybody talk about. so I don't think I'm stealing this point from anybody. Isn't this all, especially for basketball, isn't this all these guys do from the time they're 9 years old is team up with other great players and go play? Like, isn't that how they are brought up through the system from, before they can drive? Like, it's all about getting, I want to go play with this guy. I want to go play on this team. I want to play on this AAU team because these guys are here. Or, hey, these are my friends. We want to play together. We want to go to college together. Like, it permeates so many other levels of the game. And basketball is such an intimate sport from ultimately only 7-8 guys truly really matter on a night-to-night basis. Not that other guys on the bench don't make meaningful contributions. You don't need them to succeed, all that sort of stuff. But on a general night, you're really relying primarily on your top 7 or 8 guys. And from the time they're in elementary school up, it's about getting as many of those good guys together as possible to give yourself the best chance of winning. And we're now just seeing it carry over to the NBA level more.
I had an interesting experience a couple weeks ago running tryouts at the club I coach out here in Atlanta. And it was the first time I'd run tryouts for the teams I'm coaching. And one of the questions that I kind of kept getting we made calls to parents like, okay, we want to offer you a spot on this team. We think that your son, I coach the boys, we think your son would do well here. And I kept getting this question about who else is on the team. And I thought that was so funny. And it showed you how out of touch I am with like what you just said, because that really is a major determining factor from all the way. I coach 13-year-olds and 13-year-olds and 15-year-olds. So, but the youngest group's 13. And it's like, wow, this is actually, what you're saying is exactly right. Like, from becoming an extremely competitive player, these guys are playing obviously from, like you said, from their 9-10 years old, they're playing highly competitive ball. You want to play with the best. I would also say you want to play for the best teams, and you want to play for the best coaches too. So it's kind of, maybe it's not really, we like to look at these, the big thing that we were talking about. I was in New York this weekend, was the super team recruiting thing that a lot of colleges are doing, or 2-for-1, or package deal. All right, I want to come play for your school, but my boy that I play with, who's a shooting guard's got to come too. But that's kind of how it's always been for them.
Yeah.
So there's no other way for them to really approach it. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of dependency there. Like, I want my best friend here with me, which, of course, I think there's a way to cope with that, more of a
That's why James Jones is in Cleveland.
Right. But, I now that's an interesting point. It's like, why are we, but I'll even take it one step further, Richard, which is that doesn't just apply in the sports world. I think the people that are really on top of their game in the professional world, I think that's the same way for them too. Like, I have a couple of good friends that are in the startup world, and I never really understood it until I got to spend time with them and talk with them about their decisions. Because, before they were in the startup world, they were working, maybe it was with me in DC, they were doing government work, or they were working in IT or whatever, or maybe they were just doing sales somewhere. But these people that are in the startup world now, I've noticed one of the main draws for them is, because sometimes startup salaries are actually low and they give you equity. It's like, okay, we'll give you some stock or whatever. Yeah. So it's not like you're making a ton of money up front. It's like the promise of money if things pop off. What I've noticed with some of my friends in the startup world is it's also about the people that you're working with. It's the exposure. It's to be with someone who built A, B, C at this company. Now he's coming here to do this. I mean, I keep hearing that, or I've kept hearing that. I never really understood it, and now it's kind of all coming together. It's all one thing. It's like, let's work with the best that we can. Like, the best people, the best environment, to be the best. And I think that's how you get to that level. I think is aspiring for that. And so really nothing too surprising about a decision like this.
Yeah, and obviously he and Russ were tight, and I'm sure there are guys who are great players that don't have great friendships, and there's guys that have great friendships and aren't great players. Like there's not necessarily a one-to-one like correlation on all that, but they're used to kind of having a little choice about where they play and wanting to play with the best guys, and or their friends. Sometimes they overlap. Like, my line of work, that there's some, cameramen that I work with that I consider, to be friends or friendly with, and I want to work with them in part because we get along, and also in part because they do great work. So you sort of have to, sometimes it's a combination of the two things. Like the old banana boat picture joke will never get old with like LeBron and Chris Paul and Wade and Carmelo.
Right.
Just, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it works out, but like these guys are just used to doing that. And when they have a chance to call their shot, I can't blame them for wanting to play with people they want to play with. Like, who am I to say, no, you should stay in Oklahoma City because they happened to draft you 9 years ago? Like, as long as you handle it the right way, then who cares?
Yeah. This show is not sponsored by Miller High Life, by the way. Wouldn't that be crazy if we got bucket list? Oh, I did something crazy. I took my bucket list sticky notes off of my computer and put them on the Trello board for the show. I don't know if you noticed that. So I have to actually open up Trello to do that now. That being said, I'm not Trello.
By the way, the only other thing more annoying than people complaining about what Durant did or what they thought he was going to do and all that was I saw so many tweets of, I had to Google this player who got paid $50 million or whatever, and like responding to like Woj tweets. It's like, first of all, if you follow Woj on Twitter, you should know who most of these guys that are getting signed are. Like, come on. Like, I know you're trying to be funny, but it's not working.
Nothing like professional sports contracts to really reveal people's perspectives on money and value and just capitalism in general. Because, I mean, it's too easy these days, right? To just say something like, "Oh yeah, this guy I never heard of before didn't even finish college, but he's getting 25 mil." I mean, so what does that tell you? I mean, you know what? No, it's time for a rant. No, I'm not gonna do a rant. I don't have a rant in me. But Dave Ramsey, who's a financial guy, talks a lot about this kind of stuff. It's like, we have to really change the perspective we have on income and salaries, because so many of us are so used to what's given to us and not what we're bringing to the table. Because when you bring something to the table that is of value, money kind of just becomes a conversation piece. And we see that in professional sports. It's easy to cherry pick and just low hanging fruit, like, oh, this guy, oh, whatever.
But it seems like it's always basketball.
It's
not, this defensive end got this money, or
yeah,
this left-handed starting pitcher who's decent got this money. It's always just basketball guys. I don't know why that is.
I think
don't know why basketball is such an easy target.
I think it's just a much more personal sport. I think that the faces are so much more prevalent. I think the way it's covered, it just invites more of a relationship with the actual players. Like football, you have the guys that demand a lot of attention, but it's like the spectacle of the game is really the main character. And then baseball, if you're really into it, yes, the faces, the players, but if you're at that level, you're not questioning salaries and whatnot. So, but basketball, yeah. And then, I mean,
I also think it's one of the sports that so many fans actually played or play still. Like, obviously football is the most popular sport, but of all the people that watch football, there aren't that many that played. And same like with baseball, and you can't it's one of those sports, like baseball and football are one of those sports, and once you hit like 13 or 14, it's like, all right, if you're playing because you're really good and you're really serious about it and you're going to do it all the time. Whereas basketball is such like a common like recreational sport for a lot of people. Like kind of like it's similar to golf in that way though. There are a lot of people who watch it. You can just go out and shoot around or do whatever. Like, it doesn't take much skill or effort to have that connection to the game by playing it. So people are maybe a little more opinionated or have take umbrage at people getting paid for when they think that they can do some of the same things.
Yeah, it's like considered easy.
Yeah.
The name of the program is The Word. I'm here with Richard, Bruce, MacGyver, Abernathy. I think I've already used that one, haven't I?
I like it. It's one of my favorites. That and McClintock.
McClintock. Where the hashtag is sports news stuff at The Word Podcast is the Twitter handle. Boy, I'll tell you what, that sounded like a real station break right there.
I know. Please stand by 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves.
Something I really do miss about listening to the radio in the car during NFL season is let's pause 10 seconds for station identification.
Here on Westwood One.
We're wrapping up.
Shout out to Bob Trumpy, by the way.
Is that the voice of that?
He's one of their guys. Great voice. He's got like he's an analyst. He's got a real deep voice. He used to play. I think he used to play for the Bengals. He was like a tight end or something. But great announcer, Bob Trumpy. Shout out.
We're wrapping up. Sorry. The monumental KD situation, which
and just the free agency splurge in general.
Shout out to this, man. I mean,
people got paid. God bless them.
I'm so proud of everybody. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. The reactions to that was similar to the specific players, which is like people seemed like upset that people were getting paid. It's like, well, we've been saying for like a year that there was going to be a huge cap spike, and there's only so many players that could be free agents. What did you guys think was going to happen? It's like going to like a all-you-can-eat buffet. Oh my God, there's so much food. I didn't know there was going to be this much food.
Which is, by the way, what my dad says every time we go to an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's genuinely surprised by it. Like, oh, well, I think this is what you paid $10 to get in for, or whatever.
How did he get the short ribs too? I was supposed to be the only guy who gets the short ribs.
I thought I had a special table.
Yeah, nope. I've got the short ribs too.
I was getting hooked up by the concierge. Yeah. Oh, so speaking of concierge, that does remind me. The Word Road Show coming to Atlanta.
What's happening, people?
Actually, wait. You didn't even agree to this. I'm just throwing.
I agreed to it.
Okay, we're doing this.
We're doing this. It's happening.
We can make it like we can make it. Just as a little background for business purposes.
We'll be in the same city for 4 days,
which is insane. Richard Bruce Peachtree Abernathy is
which peach tree? There's like 50 peach trees.
You're gonna have to figure out which one. Oddly enough, I don't think the hotel you're staying at is on a peach tree. No. It's off of one though.
It can't be far.
So Richard Bruce Peachtree Abernathy will be in town late September. We're gonna do a live broadcast, but we'll have to make it, especially based on where you told me you're staying. And the scenery, we're gonna have to make that work for a live broadcast. A
lot of talent. I should be looking for some free agents.
I think so. I've never been there, but I expect that. Maybe I'll scope beforehand.
Okay, yeah. Go on a scouting. Can you send over like the grainy scouting videos like they do for like European games in Latvia?
I love that.
Before the draft. Can we get Fran Fraschilla to is my hotel 2 years away from being 2 years away?
I love that. No, I'm gonna do that. Because I've had my eye on that venue for a while. But that being said, I talked about the concierge. Then we need to keep it going. Word Road Show, Atlanta, and then we have to figure out a way for both of us to get to Vegas in November.
I'm going in December.
What?
Yeah, you should come.
When in December? Because there's a family trip that's
I
formulated.
need to check the dates, but
What are you
it'll be
doing there? You got a bachelor party over there?
kinda, yeah, a multi-year delayed bachelor party
Who?
for
Who?
some mutual acquaintances that we might have, and yes, it's serious.
Wait, wait, wait,
It
wait.
is serious.
Who?
Box and Joe.
No! No! No!
Yeah,
No!
yeah. You might have to. You're an honorary member of Coolidge Street. You can.
What?
Yeah.
What do you think I would? You think I would? You should have told me because now I. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's happening. It's gonna be great.
What are the dates on that? Did I already ask that?
We'll talk offline. I gotta check.
Yeah, because I mean there is a family trip that's brewing. But that being said, moving on.
December
But
25th, I believe, is the event.
jeez. That being said, we'll figure out if we can do a road show from there. But let's move on here. You know, something that came up last week amidst all of the free agent drama. Or let me not say something that came up. Something that we missed out on because we were supposed to do a show last week. I just couldn't. My weekend was crazy. Friday night I went to bed so early. We were gonna do a TGIF broadcast too. We need to rekindle that.
Watch Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step, and Hang with Mr. Cooper.
Let's just okay. You know what? Let's just actually now because you brought that up. Now the rest of the show is done. Derailed.
By the way, speaking of Hang with Mr. Cooper, shout out to Holly Robinson Pete.
Hey, still heat, bro. Pete is heat. Still,
It's good.
she's still heat. I mean, I'm gonna just throw it out there, bro. Shout out to Suzanne Summers, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to Suzanne Summers, bro.
I may or may not have had a text chain with my boss and another colleague trying to cast the Three's Companies movie if they ever made one.
I, I thought that you were gonna say you had a text chain with Suzanne Summers and Patrick Duffy.
Listen, if I had that, I wouldn't be here talking to you. No
Could you
offense.
imagine? Could you imagine that? Oh, she's still doing her thing though. I saw a flyer for her the other day. She was speaking at a medical conference of some affliction that apparently either she's been dealing with or other people that she's close to. I'm like, go ahead, Suzanne, do your thing, boo. Get that check. Raise
That check.
awareness. I see you, girl. Have we had a full-on step-by-step conversation?
I don't think so.
This is why the show goes so long because something this will come up.
Were you at Step by Step Con last year? Oh, that's the one that gets you. Oh, I haven't seen that show in forever. It was so I'm sure it's so bad. If I was to watch it now, I'd be like, "What the hell?" But at the time, that was the jump off.
Step-by-step con.
You okay?
Oh God. Whew. Step-by-step con.
This
Oh
seems like
my.
a good time to mention one of our sponsors for tonight's show, Uncontrollable Laughter.
Look at my computer's all messed up. My chair's all gone.
Oh, your camera angle's all jacked.
Let me see what we're working with here. Step-by-step con. What would the I mean, think about a typical con. I mean, you've got like speakers, you've got like exhibitors. Like, what would the exhibitors at Step-by-Step Con be? Like, it would be like fanny packs and like ring pops. I mean, what would they even be talking about?
I mean, there clearly there'd be a tomboy one for Al.
Yo, your girl did her thing though. Shout out to
She looks great, by the way.
Hey, hold up. See, this is exactly
We
what I
went
was trying to.
we went down a rabbit hole.
This is exactly what I was trying to avoid. But now I have to look it up because The blonde older sister, though.
Was she blonde? I thought she was Karen. I thought she was brunette.
Oh boy, here we go. I'm looking it up step by step. God, these 90s.
Oh, like the okay, I got you. I know what you're talking about.
Yep. Oh my God, I'm done, bro. Yep, Dana, Stacy Keenan. Wow, I actually can't right now. Okay. I had brought this up through another means. Excuse me. I didn't originally intend to talk about TGIF, and now I'm completely sidetracked. Wow, bro, I can't right now. Step by step, dude.
The focus, like, it always amazes me. You're like a professional athlete. You can just tune it. You can tune out the crowd, all the other exterior things, and just focus on the task at hand. I've always respected you for that.
Well, when the task at hand is step by step and other TGIF dimes, you can't give me too much credit.
That's true.
So the name of the broadcast, sorry, the podcast is The Word, the hashtag sports news stuff at The Word Podcast. We're living in a post KD in OKC world. You know, they're really, and I think Richard Bruce Stagelmeister Abernathy has summed up is that's basically it. It's not the end of the world. It's not something that we really need to look at and say this changes everything. But yet we're kind of still forced to live in that universe. So I guess the next question would be, what's next? Where do we go from here? In season, free agency. Excuse me, Dunzo.
Yep, Summer League. It's on right now.
But I mean, is that?
I watched some Ben Simmons the other night.
Well, I meant more for like the non-scrubs. Not scrubs, not the non-guys.
Yeah, you got some rooks.
Yeah. The guys that are not trying to prove themselves. I mean, we certainly have an interest in how these rosters shape up and all that.
Yeah, after the next couple of weeks, it's pretty quiet until start of October, when camps and preseason starts. So
let's go ahead and get some bold predictions out there for next year.
Okay,
it's never too early. It's never too early.
16 of the 30 teams will make the playoffs, and one of them will win the championship in 4 to 7 games. Just I'm out there on a limb.
That's what you get when you watch The Word Podcast at The Word Podcast. TheWordPodcast.blogspot.com. That's not a fake address. That is actually our address. You get the hard-hitting sports analysis from Rich Abernathy.
I will say the one thing that's the only downside of the KB thing for me, because I think it's going to be fun to see those guys play together. But I feel like there's a sense of inevitability with the season now. That I feel like we're just destined for a Cavs-Warriors rubber match. I don't think there's anybody else that can take. I mean, never say never. Obviously, we saw this year things can happen. But I just don't know if anybody's going to be able to stop them. I just feel like it takes some of the intrigue out. Whereas, baseball, who knows? NFL is always who knows. But I feel like maybe that's why people are upset, is because they feel like they know how the movie's going to end now.
Yeah, it does take a little bit of the drama away, doesn't it? Which is why it will be great when the Knicks, out of nowhere.
All right. You're going to have to pee in a cup after the show. I don't know what you're on.
As Bill Simmons always says, right? This is what David Stern wanted. The Knicks, out of nowhere, just take the Eastern Conference with 2 players. Well, that's unfair. But
Are they gonna buy the Warriors and like trade names? Like,
again, this is, remember, we're talking about Richard Abernathy here. This is the guy who's doing 3 things right now simultaneously. Running a successful campaign for president, a write-in campaign.
it's been very. I'm guaranteed at least 1 vote.
So that's the thing. You see, the thing about a write-in is you don't know. So we got a write-in campaign for president. He's reforming the Olympics. We didn't even get to that last week because we didn't have a show last week.
Yeah, we didn't.
But the Olympics are done.
I'm making a bunch of phone calls.
We actually canceled the Olympics. You don't know about it yet. NBC is still working out the contracts and whatnot. A lot of sponsors to pay or at least reimburse because they contributed money. And then now he's taking the NBA and turning it into basically the like Xbox Live franchise league you play online with people, where you're just trading players and teams and franchises. This is why he's the president, people.
Not yet. Just this is why I'm the presidential nominee. I got to get on the ballot in a couple different states. I gotta figure that out.
I think that's just available through a write-in, though, is it not?
I mean, yeah, I guess technically. But I gotta figure out a way to get some notoriety. Maybe I could just say some like crazy, borderline, or maybe not so borderline, offensive things about groups of people. Maybe that'll help me surge in the popularity.
If you think that isn't the blueprint from now on, I mean, just wait.
By the way, and a quick political sidebar, because I was having this discussion yesterday after the whole Clinton thing came out, and I'm going to try to keep this nonpartisan. I'm going to try to keep it fairly just logical. Do you think a woman in her mid-60s is hatching some crazy scheme via technology to work around like the U.S. government and do some shady shit? Like, do you know a single woman in her 60s who like knows how to change her settings in her Gmail by herself? Like, do you think there's some crazy plan here? She probably just didn't want to, like, she only knew one way to do her email. Was like, no, just keep doing it the same way. I don't want to have to download, what do you call it? I don't want to download a new appetizer on my phone. I don't want to do that.
You know what's so funny about that? Honestly, I worked in IT support in Washington, D.C. for, let's call it 4 years. I lived there for about 5 years. But for about a solid 4 years there, I was working in IT support. And I got to a point where I was supporting some people that were pretty high up in their companies. And then in my very last IT job, some of those people had been very high up in the world. They'd worked in the White House. They'd worked in Congress. They'd worked at different corporations that were big. And one of the things that was so funny about supporting them was that their habits were so ingrained that we would create different systems, essentially, for how they would do very basic things that you and I do every day, like email or apps on their phone. And you know what? It's so funny to hear you say that, because it's like, it's just so funny to think about that now. Wow.
Like, if there's a way to do some shady shit, that's not the way to do it. Like, that's what I don't get. It's like, I'll be on an easily hackable private server rather than behind the U.S. government firewall, and I'm going to try to like sneak some stuff by. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Interesting. Again, now he's got 4 projects. Now he's political correspondent with a specialization in technology for MSNBC News. I mean, who is this guy?
I wear many hats, James.
Clearly. I mean, wow. That perspective is, see, this is all right. I'm
like what's the is it Occam's razor or Occam's razor? I forget I don't know the exact pronunciation. So I guess
I think it's Occam's razor.
Occam's razor, but it's just like,
but
I believe Occam's razor, the concept is the simplest solution is usually the solution.
Ooh.
Like, we come up with all these conspiracy theories. It's just like, she was just that was how she knew how to do email. So just screw it. Let's do it the same way I've been doing it.
Wow. Can somebody? All right. Is anybody else seeing this right now? Look at your boy.
Hey, I try to draw out some truth.
Where do I go from here? I'm sitting here with Walter Cronkite.
Actually, I think I was wrong on what that is.
Well, yeah,
I'm suspending my campaign. Actually, no, that's right. Suppose there exist two explanations for an occurrence. In this case, the simpler one is usually better. Yeah, I was right.
Wow.
I shouldn't have questioned myself.
Bold predictions. Richard Abernathy says that somebody will win the NBA playoffs next year in 4 to 7 games, and that Hillary Clinton just didn't know how to use email.
I mean, it seems like the most logical scenario.
Love it. Love it.
To quote you from before the show, the thing that makes me so great.
You better stop. Hey, you see what he's doing over here? Oh, yeah. Wow. Because no. I did say that. But I was say that. I was talking about something else. It just slipped out. Because we have special guests coming on the show. We got to get some more guests. Yeah,
we do. People are sick of us. We need less of us, more of other people.
I'm sick of us. One time, I think you'd actually already graduated. I did an episode of The Word at the studio, and I just put people in the. No, I think you were still there, but maybe you. It was when we had the nerd stuff. Remember nerd crap?
Oh yeah.
And we just put those guys on, and I just was like, okay, you guys just go on the air. I don't want to deal with this.
But a gig of Ram will get you, baby.
Stop! I swear, dude. I'm trying to do a show.
We need to have a Word reunion show, and get.
Oh my God.
Obviously, we gotta have the Godfather, Joe Hafera there. we gotta get Jackie Pardini back in the house.
Hey.
Kyle Bookstook Billings.
Battle Rattle!
Caitlin Fair, or whatever she is now. I don't know if she's married or not.
Wait, who?
Give her Caitlin? She came on the show for a little while.
Caitlin?
Yeah.
The musician?
Yeah.
The tall woman.
Yeah.
What was her name? Last name? That wasn't her last name.
It was Holditch Fair or something.
That's right.
I want to say.
Yo, Finda. Cranking that Facebook after the show. Let me stop. Look what you're doing to me, man. I'm trying to be professional.
I'm instigating your Facebook stuff.
We'll get her on. Who else? That was it for.
I mean, we gotta get Balk on to see if we're serious or not. Clearly.
Is this serious? What I love about that? Sometimes, you bring people on a show like that, or you have them phone in, and they're being all bashful, and they're kind of joking around. He came on, and he was like, no.
Bring the heat.
Is this serious? He wasn't messing around.
Well, we'll try to track down David from Durham Tech.
Oh, gosh.
We'll try to get Belton Haynes on.
I told you I met him in real life, right? I met him.
Yeah, I wish I'd been there.
For those of you that are watching this that are like, what the H
playing the home game.
Yeah, for those of you that have no idea what the heck we're talking about. Obviously we did this show in college, and we're talking about some of the people that were on the air with us while we did the show, but then some of the people that called in, some of the people that we had on as guests, and then these people that we're talking about, like David from Durham Tech and Belton Hayes, these are actual callers. These are people that would call the show.
This was back in the day when you would talk to someone on a telephone.
It was crazy because we would screen the calls, and then we would be like, "Hey, caller, where you from? What's your opinion?" Yeah. And then we put them on live, no censors, no nothing. So people would come on.
Oh, the fact that we don't have we might have some FCC fines that are still hanging over our head that we don't even know about. I'm surprised I don't have a tax lien at this point.
Sophomore year, before you and I did our own thing, junior year, there was a whole prank scandal where these guys would prank our show, and they would say the most absurd, offensive stuff. And, I got I got pissed because, I still thought that STV meant something like it didn't. But then like they came on, like we had guests on, they'd fuck with the guests and all this stuff. It was terrible. But they said some raunchy stuff.
We had to get moved to after 9:00 in case stuff like that happened, right?
I think that may have been discussed in the studio. I think that, essentially nobody was really looking at it that closely. But it was obviously for the best that did happen. Just so we could get that ratings bump from people that were waiting to watch Rave. Okay, stop. See? He's trying to get me all riled up. It's like the show is it's like time is a flat circle with this show, which comes back to the same things. But yeah, we'll get a reunion show going here. But the name of the show is The Word Podcast, at The Word Podcast, thewordpodcast.blogspot.com. Let's get a bold prediction to finish the show. Okay, finishing the show with bold predictions because we're coming up on. Well, we're way past the time that we said we're going to be on.
No, I said 10:15.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, so not way past, but
not way past.
By the way, the show is not sponsored by Miller Lite. By the way,
unless they want to sponsor.
How crazy would that be? That's kind of like the big thing now. The niche, like niche brands. Like, okay, we're gonna like really jump into this like really underground sports podcast, and we're gonna get on top.
That'd be great.
Well, no. Let me stop. Bold predictions aren't needed. Let's go into.
Why not? I mean, I don't have one, so I'm kind of glad they're not. But I was going to pull one out of my ass.
Yeah, which is what we typically do.
Yeah.
Well, not no. You're a little bit more informed about the predictions. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say mine. I think that the Derrick Rose situation will be tragic. Is that bold? Is that bold even?
Well, tragic is bold. That implies not just, hey, it didn't work out basketball-wise, but like that he's going to be involved in some sort of horrific incident.
By that, I mean injury.
Listen, anything related to the Knicks, if you just said that it's disappointing, I don't think that's bold at all.
That's true. It's like, what am I really saying? All right, well, then that's the case. All right, I'm going to go the other way.
It's going to work out great.
The Knicks are going to make the playoffs.
Ooh. That's bold. That's how they qualify as bold.
We're doing it live. That's mine.
All right, I'll join you in a bold NBA prediction.
Ooh.
The Oklahoma City Thunder. No, not going to go there.
I thought you were going to go Hewing theory.
I'm not going to go there.
I thought you were going to go Hewing theory.
No. The Warriors still won't win the title next year.
Whoa.
I don't believe that. I'm just. I really don't. I can't even abide by that. They're such huge favorites. It's just silly.
We've seen crazier things in sports. Come on, they should have won it this year.
Hurt. Like you don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right, then I'll go. This one might actually happen. It's bold, but it could actually happen. Now that Kevin Durant is in Oakland, Steph Curry will leave next summer as a free agent and go home to Charlotte to play for the Hornets.
Richard Bruce Abernathy, right when you said that, fireworks went off in my neighborhood, which happens a lot in the neighborhood I live in, but I want to just go ahead and...
I've never said that and then immediately been proven wrong. So, the track record is good.
Wow. The name of the show is The Word Podcast. I'm James Mundia, joined I can't say every week, but every time we do this podcast by Richard Bruce Carlissimo Abernathy.
We're like the Thelma and Louise of podcasting minus the whole driving off the cliff.
You
Well,
could
maybe
say
not.
that. You could say that this podcast really is driving off a cliff every week.
We prefer to drive down random rabbit holes like step-by-step IMDb pages rather than it's a metaphorical cliff.
I think it's actually still open. Yeah, Stacy Keenan. Actually, no, we're gonna close.
I'll get a couple tabs open over here.
We're gonna close the show. She's born in 75. So what is she? 41. Not mad. 5'3". Not mad. Let's actually just go ahead and just look at like a couple of her
what else does she know for?
Filmography.
My Two Dads.
She was in My Two Dads, huh? She was in Boy Meets World for one episode. It was a crossover episode. Wow.
I don't know. I'm kind of surprised just because it never happens anymore. They did 160 episodes of Step by Step.
Are you kidding me, dude?
That is a lot.
All bangers. Just all bangers. Patrick Duffy, get your boy. Shout out to him. Aquaman on TV in his early days.
Really?
So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how long that show lasted, but he was Aquaman. Did all the water stunts and all that. So if you ever want to know anything about random step-by-step trivia, you've now found out where to find it. At The Word Podcast, The Word Podcast on YouTube, thewordpodcast.blogspot.com. For Richard Bruce Duffy Abernathy, I'm James Mundia. Thank you and good morning.